What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, DICE is not calming down whatsoever. Not only did we just get our patch notes the other day, and not only did the developers come out and give us some more details on what to expect in the future, but we also got an official, drop of notes here that's going even further into what to expect in the future, and it's a lot more details, ladies and gentlemen, and these are juicy details to be even more specific. So, of course, we're going to cover all of this stuff in today's video, but as always, if you enjoyed what you hear today, don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell. Post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'll link that channel down in the description of this video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of stuff that we have to go ahead and discuss today. Of course, as always, I'll leave a link to the overall post down in the description of this video because I'm not going to touch upon every single topic, but I'm going to touch upon the important ones, in my personal opinion. First and foremost, Casual Breakthrough is apparently doing pretty dang good, and it seems like a lot of people are, actually enjoying it. So DICE is going to be looking into adding some more maps into rotation. Again, I don't really see why they have to look into this. I don't see why they have to test this. It makes no sense to me. It's just Casual Breakthrough. Just put all the maps in the rotation. I don't see much, worse that could be done. But, it's good that they are going to be branching out soon. And they're also actually thinking of adding in a casual conquest mode as well, which is huge because conquest, in my, personal opinion, is one of the staples of the Battlefield franchise. So to hear that they're going to be working on a mode to get that into the mix for a lot of these players that just want to kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy some vibes without having to go into the full-blown experience, that's very nice of DICE. And I'm glad that they're doing this because there was a lot of, anger revolving around Portal, basically having some problems with introducing bots and allowing XP. So it's nice that there is indeed an alternative for those players that want to relax without people just going into XP farms and just cheesing the whole system and progressing through everything in the game. Also, ladies and gentlemen, DICE got a decent amount of things coming on through when it comes to the update that's happening on November 18th, California Resistance. That's going to be introducing a brand new map, Eastwood, which I am stupidly excited for. I'm going to be real. From the looks of it, and also the map overview, that's probably going to be one of my most played maps when it comes down to Battlefield 6. It just looks really solid. It looks like it's going to be a bunch of space for, more open combat and also more interesting routes instead of everything funneling down to specific lanes. And it seems that a lot of the vehicles are going to be playable on this map, so that's going to be absolutely outstanding. But when that update comes on through, like I said, on November 18th, they have a few things planned for us. More improvements to the weapon dispersion, which basically is a bloom within Battlefield 6. Honestly, after this recent update, it's already feeling phenomenal. It's like a night and day difference in gameplay. But apparently DICE wants to continue on fixing this, and I guess maybe rightfully so. I'm not sure. Maybe it could feel better. What do you guys think down in the comments section? But overall, I'm really happy to hear that one. Lighting adjustments and visibility upgrades. This is huge because a lot of players are saying that it's hard to, really see the difference in players when it comes from going inside to outdoors or even outdoors into actually entering a building. It's hard because the lighting can be a bit difficult, but they're going to be working on that. And again, they should be pushing out this update November 18th. Challenge clarity updates, basically making the challenges, the description of the challenges, easier to understand. Next up here, Fort Linden and Portal, basically the map for RedSec, the massive all-out warfare map for Battle Royale. Basically, there are certain segments that people can take into Portal and, kind of work with and turn them into multiplayer experiences. They're actually expanding on that, and they're going to add in more of the sections of the map. So people can basically make their all-out warfare experiences within Portal. Now, the sad thing is, it's still kind of hard to find some of these matches, and you can't really get the full XP. And what I hope, and I'm going to make a full separate video about this so, we can really hammer it home, but I really hope that DICE will pick up these maps that people are putting together and maybe, allow the community to vote on which ones there are their favorites, so on and so forth. Put together a little playlist that we can do for public matches with the normal Battlefield 6 matchmaking experience and still allow us to earn XP, without having to worry about the whole lobby having to fill up, and sometimes, it's not enough players to get it going. I think that would be really cool, and just kind of highlighting it for the community to see what's truly going on. And the last point here for, some updates that are coming on the 18th, the last one is aim assist adjustments, which again, guys, don't forget, they said they're going to be reverting some things back to, how it was in the beta, and a lot of people enjoyed the beta experience when it came to controllers, so hopefully this will make it a lot more fun for console players, because I'll be real, for mouse and keyboard, I have been living large and lavish. I'll be real. I hear a lot of people saying the input is pretty rough, but personally, it is so unbelievably crispy. It's one of the main reasons why I just can't get enough of Battlefield 6 because the gunplay just feels so good. So I'm hoping that, controller players can get back in their groove as well, and that this update will be the update that will allow you guys to just have all of your experiences be extraordinarily smooth. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. We got 2 more segments here. Updates are being planned for December 9th when, we get the Winter Offensive update. And also things that are still under review for future updates. My goodness, I'm telling you, the list just keeps going on here. But let's focus on the December 9th targeted update here. First and foremost, we're having a vehicle balance pass. So by December, we should be seeing I don't want to say overhaul of a lot of the vehicles, but they are saying that it's going to be a lot more consistent vehicle combat across the board here. So I'm very curious to see more details as we get closer to this date. Breakthrough mode adjustments. They actually went ahead and changed some of the zones. For example, Sector 1 in Maroc Valley now has fewer available vehicles and adjusted capture zones to help attackers make better progress. I'm curious about this. When they say reduced vehicles, do they mean for the offensive side, you get a reduced amount of vehicles? I do get that they're going to make the capture zones a little bit easier, so that's always a good thing, but I feel like removing the vehicles is, the vehicles make it a lot easier for us to push up and actually capture objectives in Breakthrough. But I will be real, they did do a little bit of a change with Breakthrough before this obvious targeted update for December 9th that feel pretty great. When it comes to offense on Maroc Valley, we actually win quite consistently now. I think I played it 3 to 4 times, and at least 3 of those games we won on offense, and it feels outstanding. So maybe they want to remove a vehicle just to kind of balance that a bit more while also making these zones a little bit easier. Regardless, it's still good to see that they're working on Breakthrough and, certain objective locations. And then rush mode improvements as well. They said specifically, we've updated MCOM placements on Manhattan Bridge and Liberty Peak to create smoother attack routes and more engaging objectives. But with that all being said, let's move into under review, basically everything that they are currently looking at. I don't know if it's an exact date for some of the things that, I'm about to discuss here, but regardless, there are a lot of good things. First and foremost, the map design and size. They said specifically, we have seen your comments about map size and pacing. Battlefield is at its best when maps offer different ways to play and constant action around every corner. Striking that balance is always a priority, and we are committed to a variety of map types across future seasons. With Eastwood arriving and California Resistance update, we'll continue monitoring existing maps and modes for targeted adjustments, like what's planned in Winter Offensive, while also learning from community creations in Portal. I'm a little bit worried that a lot of their development time is going to get kind of caught up with rebalancing a lot of the current maps in the game. But I'm going to stay hopeful because, seriously, it's not like it's a complete overhaul that's needed like Battlefield 2042. It's just kind of minor adjustments to the current maps to, extend the boundaries so it's a little bit more open space, especially for air vehicles. Then, of course, just prioritizing all the future maps to be a little bit more medium plus to large. And when I say large, I'm not talking about, like Maroc large. I'm talking about large. We need something up in this game so everybody can be happy. The best Battlefield games are where you have all different varied experiences, just like they said. You know what I'm saying? The more the merrier. You want to make sure everybody's happy. If you want, just straight open territory with a bunch of vehicles just going across desert, territory, whatever, get that out there as well so people can be happy. Next up, review of challenges. We are reviewing challenges to better support the sandbox gameplay that sits at the core of the Battlefield experience. UI and menu improvements. We're looking into adjustments that will roll out over time with the goal of making navigation more intuitive. From settings menus to equipping earned skins to discovering community experiences more easily. Please, change this UI. It's so sad, too, because I know they're not going to change the Hulu format. I guarantee that's still going to stay. If it's up to me, that would have been scrapped ages ago. I don't know what's up with all these publishers thinking that this is the way. I don't know. Maybe it is. We might just be in the minority when it comes to these ugly UIs, but, I'm sure a lot of these companies have tons of stats behind the scenes, and they probably look at all these streaming services and say, well, these guys can pull in this amount of cash and, get this much going on and this amount of people constantly coming on through. So it must be because of the UI in these streaming services, when it's probably not. I don't think I've ever subscribed to a streaming service because of the UI. I subscribe to streaming services because I want to watch specific shows and movies. But you know how these companies work. They go into the deep details, and they probably swear up and down that the UI is perfection. And then these gaming, publishers like EA, Activision, UB, all the top dogs are like, well, like I said, they're getting all that cash. Let's go ahead and incorporate that into the game. So as much as I want to stay hopeful that that portion of the UI is changing, I kind of doubt it. But still, making it easier to navigate the menus is always welcome in my personal opinion. Player stats, we're exploring expanded player stat tracking, including per season details and other improvements. That's really cool. So every single time a new season pops on up, basically I guess it tracks the stats from beginning to end until the brand new season comes out, and then it tracks more of your stats. And I'm assuming while all of this is going on, you can still see your stats from the very beginning of this game to, the end of its life cycle whenever you decide to stop playing. But it'll still show you season to season specific stats. I just think that's really, a cool introduction into the game. Social play improvements. We are evaluating ways to make it easier to group up with friends and resolve issues that may prevent smooth session joining. This is something I'm really waiting on because it will be amazing to have more than 4 people in my squad. I hope that they allow this and it's not just going to be for joining the game. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you'll be able to have like maybe 8 players, you know what I'm saying, in your overall squad. But you don't actually have them when you hop into the match. It'll put you guys on the same team, but maybe you'll separate it into 2 separate squads, and you guys can all play with one another. And that's all I really ask for, and I think that's all a lot of people ask for. It'll just be dope to go into the experience with a bunch of friends instead of only having 4 people. And if any other players want to play with you, they have to try to trickle along behind you guys and just pray that there's an open spot for them. It kind of sucks. Next here is a huge one that I'm very excited for. Hit registration and netcode. We are investigating improvements to hit registration. This work is closely tied to potential updates around time to death and time to kill consistency, as well as bugs such as sometimes dying when behind cover. Guys, I can't tell you how amazing this is going to be, and I hope that this isn't going to be longer than December because I feel like it might push people off in the wrong direction. If they can nail this before December, that'll be great. But let's be honest here, at the same time, we want these developers to cook and not feel stressed and rushed to put out any updates that will bust the game even further. To be real, a lot of the updates that this team has put into Battlefield have been pretty dang clean now, and not too many issues have been coming afloat after these updates go live, which is pretty typical. So I gotta be honest, these devs have been doing a great job, but at the same time, it's been taking them some time to push out the updates. But sometimes I got to think to myself, is it better for them to rush and bring more problems to the table, which means more work for them and less time to focus on things that still have to be fixed and more content that needs to be added in? Or is it better to just give them time, be patient? It might take a little while, but they'll get out an update that is actually worth our time and won't bother breaking anything else in the experience. So it sucks because I want it to be perfected, but HitReg is a beefy boy, and I just hope that it's not going to take too long. And then the last one here, vehicle ecosystem. We're reviewing the overall vehicle experience to ensure balanced combat across all-out warfare modes and map types. That's great. And, always good to hear that these things are being worked upon. But ladies and gentlemen, other than that, the rest of the updates are for RedSec. Again, as I always say, I don't really know what's going on in RedSec, so my opinion is not really valid. You guys probably know a bunch of other content creators who, discuss that type of stuff. But when it comes down to multiplayer, we are eating, and it seems like their timed schedule is looking very good, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I'll be honest. But of course, go down in the comment section and let me know if you guys are happy with it at all, or if you think it's bad and they need to kind of quicken up the pace, I'm curious to see where the overall community is sitting when it comes to how DICE is handling Battlefield 6. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget subscribing to that bell. It posts twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and the second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you all next one. Peace out.